Well, howdy and welcome to another Releases Roundup. Dang tooting if we haven't got to the end, or very nearly the end, to another month. Oh my goodness, how exciting it has been. I might be, this is Releases Roundup, and I will now be running you through a list of all the releases that came out this month, and there may be some things that tantalize you or interest you in buying them. So let's get cracking. The start of the month, early August, we had Gollum edition of Eastern Wonders. So it's Eastern Wonders with Gollum overlaid over the top. Looks prettier, looks nicer. Basically the same game. I did like Eastern Wonders. It's one of my favourites of the batch. But if you're into the Gollum fix, then that's for you. Then we had Eclipse, Second Dawn of the Galaxy. Big box full of all the Eclipseness from the Kickstarter. Runs you at a very eye-watering amount of cash. Well, I think the RRP is about £140 on that. If you're into that, then there is that. I'm a TI4 man myself. Then we have Marvel Champions Hulk. I've not played any of the Marvel Champions. It looks like a rabbit hole that my bank balance is happy I'm not sort of rummaging down into at the moment. However, very well thought of, very well talked about, so there's some Hulk for you. Then Role Player, Fiends and Familiars, which kind of adds some pets and stuff to Role Player. Game I've never played, but looks kind of cool. It's got dice and stuff, so that's all right, isn't it? Then we get to August the 10th, that week there was quite a bunch of stuff. So first up is my pick for the month of the one game that I thought was rather fantabulous, was Infinity Gauntlet, a love letter game. It is love letter, but with the Marvel theme. It's got 2 decks in it. You play as either Thanos or the heroes trying to take him out. Really good, really nice components, really small little package, very portable, 15 quid RRP. Absolute steal. If you've played Love Letter and thought it was okay, this is, in my opinion, the best version of Love Letter and a cracking game. Well worth grabbing. Glasgow, which I don't know much about, but I presume is about a bunch of Scots staggering around Glasgow, building buildings and probably drinking lots of iron brew. Bit like Rhapsody Nesbitt, I imagine. Right, the Rails. Train games. Everyone loves a train game. This one, of course, comes with splendiferous oodles of Ian O'Toole all over the top of it. It's supposed to be quite a vicious take-that train-type game of stocks and shares and taking trains. Looks kind of cool in an itty-bitty box, really. Then we got Fantastic Factories, which is another sort of dices and cards and engine building. Looks very cool. Nice sort of clean graphic design. And again, a lot of take that play in there. Fantastic Factories we covered. Touch of Evil 10th year anniversary. Looks like a cosplayer's party. Never understood these. These are kind of like, look to me like the Happy Shopper version of Eldritch Horror. But if that's your thing, then dive on in. Godspeed. So that came out Kickstarter early part of the year. Like the theming of this, it's essentially a fight over the moon between the Russians and the Americans, I believe, or like a group of Eurocentrics and other stuff, and against the old Cold War. So Cold War in space, basically, is what it is. Worker placement looks very nice from Pandasaurus, looks beautiful, fairly solid from all accounts, and will run you into a sizable 60 odd quid. Then we have got CO2 Second Chance. Befuddling amount of array of options and make your head hurt type style of games if you want to do that, but that's there. Save the ozone layer, why don't you? Go and do that. My Little Scythe, Pie in the Sky. So JB Stegmaier wringing the last amount of coinage out of everyone. If you have My Little Scythe, which is Scythe with a cutesy feel and easier to play, then I think this bungs on the old Wind Gambit as a My Little Scythe edition. Then we get to August the 17th. Around there we had Alone, which is a game which sounded very cool. It's one person versus many. Everyone's like the dungeon masters attacking the one player. By all counts, number one hasn't got a solo mode in it. A game called Alone with no solo mode, very strange, and not terribly satisfying for the group of people playing it, other than the single player who's being pursued and terrified out of their wits. Kind of expensive. That might be a bargain box time, boys and girls. Breakdancing Meeples. I can't imagine the game is anywhere as great as the concept of Breakdancing Meeples or the box cover, but it's here anyway. Cooper Island. You go around an island, not coopering though. Exploring an island, putting bits down and stuff. Search for Planet X. This one's got some buzz. Not really looked much into it, but it's definitely buzzworthy. Buzziness has taken place over Search for Planet X. Will we find Planet X? Who knows? Where is it? Probably at the end near Y, I'd imagine. Kamisuma looks a bit like Tokaido, and it's kind of but there you go, Kamisuma, straight and hot from, I think it was a Kickstarter. Imagineers is out for 50 quid. That is Build Your Own Theme Park. I loved Theme Park. Not so sure if there's actually a decent theme park game other than Steam Park was pretty cool. That kind of really nailed that theme park gameplay. But if you're in the mood, then maybe take a look at Imagineers. Then we rush up to date with the last week's or so releases. We've got Mariposas, which from Elizabeth Hargreaves. So she's essentially, I'd imagine, trying to do for butterflies what she did for pigeons in Wingspan. So there you go. You can go and live the life of a cabbage white or whatever grabs you at that point in time. The Shining, one of the first of the 2 Shining games coming out this year. This is from the OP, I believe. Looks beautiful. Art design looks stunning on this thing. I love The Shining. Not entirely convinced that this is actually all that great a game. It's kind of middling from what I hear, but does look very nice. Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. Scott Elms doing a tiny epic game of something else that's been done before for a little bit less retail, a little bit less game. Might be for you. 3 dinosaurs stuff in a small box. Truffle Shuffle. It's on here because I thought it was to do with the Goonies. It's not. What a disappointment. Then we've got Control, which is spelled like that. Not control, but like a keyboard control. It's kind of sort of like a dexterity kind of puzzly game of like building a cube, sort of reversey Rubik's. Looks kind of cool, sounds kind of cool, reasonable price point. Apparently the components aren't great. And then finally we had Deep Vents, which is from Ryan Lockett, which kind of feels these days, Ryan feels a bit like Jamie Stackmeyer's slightly uncharismatic younger brother. But he's produced a lot of good stuff. This got a bit of buzz because he released it straight off his own website originally. Now it's out for RRP for about 35 quid. You can go deep diving and doing stuff under the oceans, whatever that involves. On to Kickstarter then. So my Kickstarter picks this month are going to be very UK based. First up is Die of the Dead, which hit Kickstarter in the last few days. This was shown at Aircon. I heard some very good reports about it. It is a dice rolling game and all sorts of goodness like that. We love a bit of dice rolling, which is set, theming, which is a unique theme, is that's based on the Day of the Dead, the Mexican Day of the Dead. And it just looks gorgeous. Lots of colourful, wonderful dice, the whole, the coffins, everything. It just, all the components are just like glowing with colourfulness. Get strong Coco vibes, the Pixar movie from this one. It looks gorgeous. It's doing very well already on Kickstarter, and it's one that's really piqued my interest. Next up is Defection. Now this is a game I saw, oh gosh, about 3 or 4 years ago back at an Aircon in its very early stages. It's been in development ever since, and probably sometime before that. It is a space trading game. So think of something a bit like Firefly, Outer Rim, Merchant of Venus, all that sort of stuff. The idea of you having your own haulage company in space, bubbling around in the universe, picking up goods, dropping them off, trading them. You have crew, you have all sorts of events happen. This looks to be like all of those games, but conceivably better, which would be great, wouldn't it? It looks great. It's got some really great components, lots of stuff there, a fairly reasonable entry point to jump in on if you don't want to go for the full deluxe components. And for me personally, I am a sucker for this style of game. I've always got kind of serious Elite vibes, or if you really remember back in the old Commodore 64 days, PSA5 Trading Company, that sort of graphical feel and all that sort of stuff. I had a rip-roaring time playing a very early version of this. It has only improved immensely by leaps and bounds, I have no doubt, since then, and it's one I'm very much looking forward to having a go. So that is this month's pick for me. There you go. And that brings us to the end of the Kickstarter picks for this month. And in fact, the end of the video. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget there's lots of other stuff around here you can like and share and subscribe to and see all these wonderful videos. More stuff coming. You will hear from me again, of course, at the end of next month. But for the time being, I'm out of here. Yippee-ki-yay, melon farmers and all that. yeehaw, and stuff. Probably looks wrong.